Want to bring in Dr. Chris Pernell. She's a New Jersey public health physician. Welcome, Dr. Pernell. We've been told that you were inspired to take part in the Moderna vaccine trial, partly because of personal loss, incredible loss. You lost your father to COVID, your cousin, your sister was infected with long-term effects. We're just so sorry for what you've gone through, but you're turning it into something positive as a role model, participating in the Moderna vaccination trial program.
Yes, Andrea, it was very important for me to turn devastation into hope and victory. And I think it's very important for my community to see that. My community in New Jersey, my community in North New Jersey, my community throughout Essex County. My father was a research scientist, and unfortunately, this pandemic took his life away, but it did not take away his fight, his spirit, or his legacy, because I look to live that forward. And as Black and Brown communities had been decimated in disproportionate fashion by this pandemic, as they were just describing at University Hospital, I sought a way to be a part of the solution. I sought a way to demonstrate accountability and to actually say, how do we help to beat back this pandemic and to create a new narrative, a more powerful narrative informed by public health.
Now, the FDA is reviewing the Moderna vaccine. The first shots could happen next week. And as you point out, African Americans are understandably hesitant about the vaccine, given the history of experimentation by the medical community on people of color, on Black Americans. So that was part of your motivation.
Definitely. I'm well versed in that history, right? We could talk about enslaved Black women who were subjected to gynecological procedures without anesthesia and without their consent. We could talk about Tuskegee, Black men having treatment with syphilis withheld from them. We could talk about Henrietta Lacks in Baltimore, had metastatic cervical cancer and had tissue samples taken from her wounds. There are countless horrible stories of medical experimentation and abuse, and it's time for the medical complex and healthcare more broadly to be able to have honest conversations and to demonstrate trustworthiness. And public health is actually positioned to fight for health equity, to fight for racial justice, because we know those issues impact and determine life outcomes and life exposures. So this was my opportunity to live forward a truer legacy around empowerment, about a sense of agency. And I really jumped at that opportunity. And I want to be able to have a conversation nationally and a conversation with my community about, I hear your fears and concerns. Knowing your fears and concerns, this is the truth of the science. This is the truth of the data. And to walk hand in hand, science and empathy, and to walk people along this decision.
Dr. Pernell, your father was a man of science at Bell Labs. We were looking at some pictures you shared with us. He's a striking man. What would you want people to know about Timothy Pernell?
Wow. Big Tim, as we called him, he was a hero. Here is a man who defied the Jim Crow South. Here is a man who defied every no. Here is a man who was self-taught. My father did not go to college, but my father was brilliant. And that love of math and science led him to Bell Labs, but he only could get a job cutting grass. My father went from cutting grass to being a member of technical staff and advocating for Black laboratory scientists and engineers to have access to opportunity. And I see myself as living out that dual mission, living out that mission of science and living out that mission of racial justice and health equity. And that's what I want all America to know, that this is a crossroads in our nation. It's an opportunity for us to reckon with our past and to transform and define a new America, a new way forward. And we can't get there without having these truthful conversations.
Dr. Chris Pernell, thank you so much for sharing from your loss. I hope many people can benefit from this tragedy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.